gotta talk about this again. Oh boy. Hello everybody, my name is Sniping is Fun, and welcome back to another video on the Celebrating October 2024 list of videos. That's not a live stream. Last time I did a video exactly like this with my memories of insert thing, I talked specifically about Halloween, like my memories of Halloween, costumes, and stuff that went on during said times. Today is a specific one topic thing. In fact, it's a legendary, iconic movie that you've already seen the thumbnail to, you've already seen the name of the video to, you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to be talking about The Nightmare Before Christmas and my history and memories with that movie. I know I've talked about this before in my video I did about a year or so ago, that anniversary video I did on Kingdom Hearts. But I didn't go into full detail on there like I'm going to go into here. So if you've seen that video, you kind of know my story and my history with this movie. But with that being said, you know, I'm going to be able to go into more detail here right now because it's going to be solely focused on this specific topic, my memories of Nightmare Before Christmas, which can also be seen as a Christmas movie, but it's also a Halloween movie, and Halloween is in less than a week, so I'm going to talk about it for all of you to see. So, Nightmare Before Christmas, if you remember seeing that, early 90s, I think it was 1993, stop-motion animated movie, Tim Burton and all the other people that involved on that to become a cult classic. It's so iconic. Everyone wants a sequel to it, despite the fact that I don't really trust Disney with a sequel to anything practically anymore. But you know, it's an iconic, beloved movie. And my history with this movie, in 93 when it first came out, I would have been 3 years old, so obviously I didn't see it then. My first time seeing Nightmare Before Christmas was about 1997-ish, 98 at my aunt's house. She had it on VHS, and I watched it. And I mean, before I even remotely get to talking about this here, I really love the movie nowadays. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. Young Tom, young Sniping is Fun, probably didn't see it that way. I watched it, I enjoyed it. No, I'm not going to say I hated it. I liked the movie. But for the longest time after watching it at her house at that time, I was absolutely terrified of the movie and did not want to own it. I did not want to watch it. And I don't know how many other people out there are going to have a similar story of mine, because while it's not a scary movie, it does have some creepy atmosphere to it. But what's funny is nothing in the movie up to a certain point freaked me out and made me uncomfortable and scared and creeped out. And the part that did was the death of Oogie Boogie, the whole thing when he got turned into bugs and fell into the thing. There was something about that scene, for the longest time, I did not want to watch the movie. I didn't even want to see pictures or ads of the movie in front of Disney movies. I would walk out of the room when they were doing I could skip it, fast forward or something on a VCR, but I didn't want to watch it. There was something about that scene that really kind of irked me. I don't know what it was. I mean, I was like 7 years old, 8 years old, and like I've never been a super big fan of like horror and stuff like that. As I've gotten older, I've become more accustomed in liking it in video games and whatnot stuff. And I'm not saying this is horror, but what I'm saying is like the creepy stuff and the horror stuff. When I was younger, I was especially not super really big into that. And this movie is nowhere near that. It has creepy atmosphere to it and elements. So I can understand why. But there was that one scene that for the longest time, I could not even remotely look at anything to do with that movie, even if it was little advertisements at the beginning of a Disney VHS tape. And she wanted to give it to me, and I remember putting up a little like, no, I don't want it. I was trying to get away from it, and it was passed off to my younger cousin, and it was kind of a humiliating thing, kind of like I was scared of it. I wasn't really scared of it. It was just like this weird uncomfortableness of what happened with Oogie Boogie at the end, and it was like everything else up to that point was fine. I loved watching it, and then for years I was not watching that movie, and like, I've come around now, obviously, all these years later, but you want to know what was the one thing that helped me get over my fear of The Nightmare Before Christmas? Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts was the big thing that pretty much, got me to get over that uncomfortableness and the fear that I had of that movie. because up until that point, like I said, I was skipping VHS tapes. I was trying to avoid it as much as possible. And at the time, Kingdom Hearts came out at the end of 2002 in America. It was a 2002 game. I was getting into RPGs years up to that point. My first Final Fantasy was Final Fantasy 9. I got into 10. This was before 10-2. I was playing PS1 RPGs like Grandia and stuff like that. I was getting into the Pokemon franchise on the Game Boy and Game Boy Color, and eventually Game Boy Advance. It was before Ruby and Sapphire, though. So I was getting into RPGs and Final Fantasy, and I was getting into Squaresoft at the time. Square Enix now, but Squaresoft at the time. So I was getting into Final Fantasy, and I was getting used to the Final Fantasy characters and the Final Fantasy atmosphere. And obviously, I was really big into like Disney movies and Disney properties at that point. Most people were, especially during the '90s Renaissance and all this, watching the movies from the '80s and the '70s and going into the 2000s. I was big into like Lion King and Aladdin and Little Mermaid and Emperor's New Groove and Tarzan and Hercules and all that stuff. Mickey Mouse and everything. I grew up on Disney. Obviously, a lot of us did, back when Disney was good. But like, I was really big into Disney, and I was really getting into RPGs, especially like Final Fantasy at the time. We now see a thing merge together of the two of them. And I distinctly remember watching the ad, like the trailer for it, the advertisement for it, being super into it. Oh, this is Disney. This is Squaresoft. It's Final Fantasy meets Disney, and being super into it. And then I see Nightmare Before Christmas in front of my eyes. And I'm like, oh my God, in order for me to put up with this thing, I have to go through that. And I remember the first time playing the world when the game came out, and it's a later world than the first game, being uncomfortable in the airiness of it, but playing more Kingdom Hearts and stuff like that. That is what truly won me back over to Nightmare Before Christmas. For that length of time, which was about 4 or 5 years, about four-ish years, I didn't want to watch it. I didn't want to be associated with it. I get into Kingdom Hearts, and I'm playing The Little Mermaid, and I'm playing Aladdin, and I'm playing Pinocchio, and I'm playing Hercules, and then comes Night Before Christmas, and I had to put up with it if I wanted to make any progress in the damn game. So, playing Kingdom Hearts 1, and then going into Kingdom Hearts 2, and there's Chain of Memories in the middle, and all that stuff since then, that's what won me over. I finally got over it. And it wasn't really necessarily, like I said, the only thing that creeped me out was the Oogie Boogie thing. That was the only thing that creeped me out in that movie, which is weird. It's the one scene at the end. Everything else I liked. So I was able to bypass that, get back into the characters in the world and enjoy it. And now it's a beloved movie for me. I love it a lot. And that's all thanks to Kingdom Hearts. It really is. That's my memories of the movie Night Before Christmas. Like, for the longest time, I didn't want to be associated with it. Like, this extended period of years, being uncomfortable and scared of it, like creeped out by that one scene that ruined everything else for me with that movie. It could have been a major childhood favorite, and I didn't get back into it until like middle school, going into high school, when I was playing in 2002, when I was it came out in 2002. Yeah, I was in 7th grade when the first Kingdom Hearts came out, and then by the time I got into the like Game Boy, Chain of Memories and 2, I was going into high school, middle of high school, and then the rest of the games came out, the rest of high school, going into college and whatnot, and work era and stuff like that for me. Now we're on the road to waiting for Kingdom Hearts 4, and all these years later, I could thank Kingdom Hearts for finally getting me over that one eensy-beensy minimal little bit of fear that I had the night before Christmas. That if I did not have that, that would have been a childhood favorite movie I would have watched 1,000,001 times back in elementary school and middle school and whatnot. But I got back into through the end of middle school, going into high school and whatnot. You win some, you lose some, I guess. But like I said, I love the movie now, and like it wasn't that I hated the movie or was scared of the whole damn thing. I loved I was watching, which is funny because I was watching James and the Giant Peach and all this other stop motion stuff that sometimes had creepier things, and I didn't associate that. So I find it weird. There's stuff I watched that probably had creepier things than Oogie Boogie's death, but for some reason Oogie Boogie's death is what kind of got to me. I don't know. So that's my history. That's my memories of where I started with Night Before Christmas, the long road to where it is now. Put in the comment section what you guys, is there anyone else out there that had something of similar note? Not maybe, even if it wasn't One Neighbor Before Christmas, but something that there was some little thing that scared you or made you uncomfortable that much, it creeped you out, that you didn't want to be associated for an extended period of time. Maybe some of you still don't want to be associated with. Maybe some of you came around like me with Night Before Christmas. I don't know. Put in the comments section down there below. I want to see it. And we're on the road. We're less than a week away to Halloween. I'm planning on doing some more live streams, hopefully later today, if not early next week. I know I didn't do a whole lot this year. I'm sorry about that. I will make up for it on the road to next October, and definitely next October, if everything works out for me and the PlayStation doesn't decide to do what it did earlier this month, I'll hopefully have more for them too. My name is Titus Fun. Peace. Please subscribe if you want to. Have a lovely day and enjoy Halloween. Bye, everyone.